This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Charlie Manos, we have managed to run everybody off but us. Well, Jeff Roberts is back.
He's returned.
Molly Kate's daddy is back. Rock Solid Roberts is in master control from the Acuff House studio on the Grand Ole Opry Plaza. That's where we do the show each morning.
Yeah, we've had an influx of Californians moving to Nashville over the last 10 years, but Kelly Sutton and Andy and I have decided to go west this week together at completely opposite ends of the state.
Or as Greeley said it best, go west, young man, or in this case, young woman. Kelly Sutton at Stagecoach, and Andy is up in Napa at that music festival. And we'll get updates from them along the way. You're at the Opry here in a few hours, are you not?
I am. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. Had a lot of fun last night, too. It was a great show. But tonight, let's see, Riders in the Sky and Rhonda Vincent and the Rage will be there. Next Stage members. It's a good night for the Next Stage class. Chase Beckham, Madeline Edwards, Chapel Hart, all on the show tonight. Right. Jason Crabb, Walker Montgomery, and I'm very excited for the Opry debut of James Bay.
Oh, did you mention the Cowboy Way?
I did.
Oh,
Riders in the Sky and Rhonda Vincent. Yeah.
Good. So, Tim McGraw is making news. So is Brett Young. Dasha, speaking of Stagecoach, Dasha and Kelly Sutton together at Stagecoach. Okay.
There's a lot of trouble to be had out there, to be honest. Dasha may be one of the more well-behaved.
We're going to the stage of the Opry with Chris Jansen and Good Vibes. Speaking of Opry shows, Opry 100. We'd love for you to come see us. If you already have, come back. If you haven't, make a plan between now and the fall to come be a part of Opry 100. And you can go to Opry100.com to get that information, or WSMRadio.com, and you get a link when you get there. But again, we'll go to the stage of the Opry with Chris here in just a little bit. Right now, it's Old Dominion. They finally got the bar open on Easter weekend. Seems appropriate to open your bar during Holy Week.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
We want to share the Zoee story with you and new music this morning from the Assembly Food Hall stage. Always great to see you. And thanks for, Charlie was pointing out, you're one of those people that's ridiculously early for things. It's
you have to
it's the way you roll.
It's the way I roll. I mean, if you're on time, you're late. That's kind of
Okay.
We were just talking about that.
That Dolly says that she's on time in a business that never is.
I love that.
And
it's so true.
So are you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do.
I love following you on social media. You're
Thank you.
very active there.
I feel like you have to be.
Where do you get the most response? Which one? Which platform?
Oh, it's usually always Instagram. I feel like that's kind of my space, my people. It's weird. You do find your zone. Facebook, I feel like, is not my kind of crew, but Instagram's kind of shining up, and there's a few others, but it's like you got to pick one. There's so many. And it's so much time you can pour into it, and it's just like there's never enough hours in the day to do them all.
We have had more than a few artists come in and talk about how panicked they were for the 24 hours that TikTok went away after building millions of they're all gone. Please all come back.
And trying to get them to convert over to other platforms is near impossible.
Exactly.
Don't even try. It was scary for everybody. Yeah.
Well, you've got new music that we're going to feature here in just a little bit, a song called Windy. You're playing at Country Music Hall of Fame on Saturday. So tell us about your writers' round.
I am really looking forward to that. That's 11:30 a.m. because we like morning shows. We were just talking about that as well. We love a morning show here. And yeah, it's going to be a really fun round. It's my first time playing the Country Music Hall of Fame, so I'm very, very excited and grateful to be able to make my mark there.
And which venue? You're at CMA or the Ford Theater?
The Ford Theater.
Ford Theater.
Yeah.
All right.
Very
and then you were telling us off the air just before we went live that Chiefs is in your future. Chiefs on Broadway, Eric Church's plays.
I am so looking forward to that. That's going to be a full band show, and actually the kind of pre-release party for my album that's also going to be coming out on July 4th. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Your first visit to us in the Acuff House, right?
No, I've been here one other time.
Well, okay.
One other
All
time.
right.
But I think things were still getting set up here, and it still smelled like fresh paint, and it was like, don't breathe in too heavy, you might get dizzy kind of thing. It was wonderful. We had a good time.
Not a whole lot has actually changed, but it looks good.
And here I was just thinking it was the good energy in the room.
Yes. Our phrase that pays is, it presents well.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it, and I'm so honored to be here. It's wonderful.
Wonderful to see you. For people who are meeting you, hearing you for the first time, your accent draws us in.
Yeah.
Tasmania is home for you. Share the backstory. I saw where your family was musical, and that music was really your first language, even though you did you deep sea dive for
I did,
For
yeah.
crawfish and abalone?
Crayfish and abalone, and I raced endurance dirt bikes for a while. I thought I was going to be a professional endurance dirt bike racer for a second there. It was, it feels like a lifetime ago now, but for a minute there, I was doing pretty good. I had a big accident. I got a pretty good scar on the back of my head from one of them in particular, and it kind of I think recorrected my course and made me realize that music was actually where it was at for me. And at the time, I was writing music and just kind of, it was more of a hobby than it was really I hadn't zoned in on it yet.
Yeah.
And that really kind of corrected my course, and I went, this is it. I came to Nashville for the first time. My family were big travelers, thankfully, because I made to be on the road, basically.
Well, it exposed you to so many things.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have been.
No. And so we came to the States multiple times, and would always come for about 3 months and would just travel and see as much of the country as we could. And on one of those particular trips, I convinced the family to come to Nashville, which wasn't hard because my family loved country music and music in general. And so we came, and I managed to get myself a gig out at Bobby's Idle Hour before they changed to the new location. It was the old, I don't know how I did it because nobody knew who I was. I didn't have anything behind my name, but I managed to get my way in there.
That's so great because it's so old school Nashville Music Road to say Bobby's Idle Hour.
Yeah, it was like walking into a Chris Christopherson song.
Yes.
Like it's cigarette smoke and the sticky floors and like money along the walls. It was wonderful. And I played my 3 terrible self-written songs on the stage there. I just had a ukulele. I don't think anyone paid any attention, but I was just hooked. I was like, this is it. So I went home and started writing more, and about a year or so into it, my dad and I would build a home studio so I could record, and started putting songs out on the internet, which is a terrible idea if you don't know what you're doing, because the internet is forever, as we all now realize. So getting those back took a little time. Hopefully there's no copies out there. If anyone's got them, please burn them. But yeah, one thing led to another, and I ended up moving from Tasmania to the UK. I couldn't get a visa to come to the States at the time. I didn't have enough accolades, I suppose. And so I went to the UK, and I started busking on the streets there, and because again, nobody knew who I was. So I kind of just did the thing and worked my way up from that to venues, to clubs, to touring, and then got my visa and made it to Nashville, and here I am.
So how is radio different in Tasmania and live performance as far as artists who come there?
I think it's it's much more isolated because Tasmania is an island on an island, so it's very rare that you get big international acts coming to Tasmania. Normally you leave to go to the mainland, to go to Melbourne or Sydney and go and see a show.
So how far is that? The mainland from Tasmania, to Australia from
It depends if you take the ferry or if you take the flight. It's about an hour flight. It's about a 12-hour ferry ride, and that can be a bumpy trip if you're not prepared for it. So it just depends. It's very isolated down there. I mean, where I lived, it was my family and I. We was about 6 hours from anything that looked like a real city. We had no phone signal, no TV.
You had radio? You had a radio station?
We had radio, so I listened to a lot of radio. They'd beam in things from the mainland as well, so I'd get to hear all of the current stuff that was happening, which was fun. And of course the local channels would always do local weather, and first gig I ever got offered was to be a radio host on my local radio station. I was like 12, which was funny, but
Bill was 12.
Really?
That's how old I was when I started.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I nearly did it. It was just to get to the radio station, it was such a drive. I couldn't it just didn't work out logistically, but I wanted so badly to do it. And
so who would you have seen in concert first in Tasmania?
Oh, goodness. As far as probably a big act goes, I would say Dr. Hook. You remember Dr. Hook?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
In the medicine show.
Yeah, the best. And I
Sylvia's
was about 4.
mother.
Yeah, the best. I was about 4 at the time, and I remember he actually spotted me on the floor because my parents got front row seats. They were big fans. And I was there with my mum and my dad, and Dennis Lucker just spotted me on the front row, and he's like, I got to meet you afterwards. And my parents hung around and we met him, and he was like, thank you so much for bringing your kids to my show. It's like such an honor for me to see it being passed on to the younger generation. And he got down on one knee and he kissed my hand, and he was so generous and so sweet, and just a really lovely guy.
And promised one day to put you on the cover of the Rolling Stone.
And one of these days I'm going to call him up. We're going to sort that out. Yeah, maybe. That'd be wonderful.
Tell us about the new single before we play Wendy, Wendy, because there was an old pop hit. It was a big hit for the association called Everyone Knows It's Wendy. Remember that song? Boom, 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 boom. So
I like this version better. I think we'll just get rid of mine and we'll just go with this. This is great.
But you're Wendy. Original song, I'm guessing.
It is an original song, yeah. So I was just kind of thinking about the kid inside of all of us, the one who dreams, the one who's brought me literally around the world a couple times now, and just, how to hang on to that kid inside of us all. And I knew what I wanted to say, and I just didn't know how to say it and put it into words. And so I was sitting with my co-writer, Bonnie Diamond, on the day, and I'm like, I don't know just how to put this in. And she's like, what about Wendy from Peter Pan? Like, what about... I was like, you are a genius for writing that. And so it just kind of came from that. And it's all about just hanging on to that inner child inside of you, and don't let those dreams go. The world gets tough sometimes.
And this is the debut, am I right?
This is the debut. It's
all over the world as you watch and listen to WSM Radio, Coffee, Country, and Cody. And as you link to your favorite streaming platform when you get to circlecountry.com, Zoe and Wendy.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
Well, you just got to hear the debut of Wendy from our guest Zoe this morning, all over the world on WSM Radio and your favorite streaming platform, which you can link to when you get to circlecountry.com. And you're going to play live for us in this segment coming up. And we'll get to that in a little bit. I was just looking, we talked about this at the top, people just joining us. You'll be at the Country Music Hall of Fame this weekend on Saturday. And what time is that again?
11:30 a.m.
Are you an early riser by nature?
Yes.
Most singer-songwriters are not.
No, but I mentioned earlier that I did abalone diving and crayfish diving, so you're always up early with the tides, and that kind of stuck. And now I'm the earliest riser in Nashville, I think.
So
hey, you can always text me. I will
That's
always
true.
be awake.
You always answer
Anything
too.
after 3 a.m.,
wonderful.
I'm safe.
That's fantastic.
Now, 9:30 at night, I'm asleep. That's the opposite.
Honestly, same here. If I'm not playing a gig, like...
So abalone, I associate with guitars, an inlay on guitars in Nashville.
Yes.
So it's a shell?
It's a shellfish, and they stick to the rocks, and you got to go down and you kind of lever them off the rocks, and then the meat is inside the shell, obviously, and then when you take that out, the shell is that beautiful inlay color that you see in all the guitars here in Nashville. So a lot of the guitars get their abalone shells from Tasmania and from New Zealand, and interestingly enough, that's exactly where I was doing it. So it's kind of a full circle.
How big are the crayfish? Or crawfish, as we would call them here.
They're actually the southern rock lobster, which is what they officially are
Oh,
called.
okay.
So, they're usually about a foot-ish. Depends on the size. I mean, you can get big guys, but you're normally about a foot.
So you dive for them rather than drop?
You can do both. You can dive for those, or you can do crayfish
baskets.
dropping nets and stuff like that, and pots and things. So kind of, my dad was a big fisherman, and so that kind of bled into my childhood, and it was a pretty amazing way to go.
We talk about Nashville and the meat and three scene here, which is kind of unique to us.
Yes.
What would be unique, but very much Tasmania, if you took me and Charlie to lunch one day in Tasmania back home?
It would be an array of any kind of fish. Salmon, smoked salmon. We have beautiful salmon down there. Crayfish, of course, and abalone, I think, would probably be the top three. Trumpeter is another big... Just, if you've got a fish allergy, don't go to Tasmania.
You're not eating...
No, we have great growing ground, too, so there's lots of great vegetables and all that sort of stuff, but, like, the real, oysters, and, it's wonderful. So,
The meat and three concept confused me a little when they did not have that in New England growing up. The meat and
Right.
three, and the white gravy also frightened me the first time I saw it. Like on a biscuit, I'm like,
biscuits scare me.
I'm like, ooh, what is this? What is this paste on top of my biscuit?
know.
I don't like biscuits to begin with, but I
No.
certainly don't want white paint on
Why
top.
do biscuits scare you?
Well, they just crumble, and they're more like a scone than they are a biscuit, because a biscuit's us as a cookie. And so I'm still confused about that whole concept. It comes out, it looks like a scone, and then you put that gravy cream, and I'm like, well, this is not. I've got to get through this. I know I'm a Southerner now. I think so. I've got to learn to love it.
My sweet late mother, Mama Helen, was the best biscuit maker on the planet.
No, I've never had
And
homemade biscuits.
She squeezed them off, rolled them up, did them by hand. No two are alike.
That sounds good.
And we called it. This is your childhood, because it's what you learn from your parents, and how you speak, and it was called thickening gravy. It was white gravy. You didn't ask for white gravy or dark red eye gravy. That's what you made after you had country ham, fried ham. But thickening gravy is how I knew it. So as a kid,
That's all right.
you go to a restaurant and order, how you want your eggs? Whole.
Whole.
Whole, which was over easy, basically.
Oh, okay. All right.
Love that.
and then they ask for the gravy, thickening gravy. You kind of look at you like, where's this?
I've had to get used to some of the different terms in the South too. I'm still figuring that out, and I have to curb a lot of my own terms because no one knows what I'm saying.
You made us hungry there with all that seafood talk.
Kidding.
Well, you know what is interesting too, when somebody makes the commitment to come here and realizes, well, this is the place I need to be if I'm going to up my game and be surrounded by people I need to be surrounded with. And if you're, moving from Chattanooga or Atlanta, worst case scenario, you can be home in 2 hours. But this was, you had to have a leap of faith in yourself to make this leap of faith to come here, right? I mean, there's no easy going home.
It's either that or just a little bit of crazy.
Well, yeah. Well,
it is.
A combination of both is not a bad thing.
I vividly remember interviewing Clint Black at some point along the way where he said, you just can't have a plan to go back home.
And I haven't been
and he's
back.
from Houston, but he said, it'd be easy to give up and go back, particularly with the Texas music scene.
Yeah.
He said, but I didn't want that.
No, same here. I mean, I've never had a plan B, and I haven't gone back to Australia since I left, and I left in 2016. And, it's a big sacrifice to leave behind family and friends and all of that thing, but it's like you have to follow through and at least give it your all, because, there's nothing worse than sitting back later and going, I wonder what if. I just, this is too much of a calling for me, and being in Nashville has been such a joy, and I really feel like now I've just started to kind of feel comfortable in my own voice after settling into Nashville, and it's brought me closer to the fans, and now I can just have fun with it. So
well, we want you to have fun with us. Country Music Hall of Fame with Zoe on Saturday at 11. She's playing Chiefs on Broadway on the 22nd, and you're doing the CMA Music Festival again this year.
I am, yeah. I've got a couple of events happening for that. So I'll actually be performing on the 8th at CMA Spotlight Stage, I should say.
Okay.
And then I'll be doing a signing as well, and that's on the 6th. So, but all the dates are on my website, zoemusic.com. So.
You follow that with a Franklin Theater show, I saw.
I do, that's right. Goodness, you know my schedule better than I do. I'm just going to give you a buzz and be like, where am I at tonight?
I pulled it up, so if you need me, call me.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
What are you playing and singing for it?
I got a new song. It's actually coming out on the record, which will be out July 4th. And I don't know if either of you are aware of the dating scene at the moment and what's going on out there, but there's a lot of red flags, and I think a lot of time we just try and convince ourselves they're not there, and maybe try and see something that isn't really there. And so I decided to write about that, and this one's called Red Flags.
That is Zoe, all over the world on WSM Radio and Circle Country Television. That had a Carole King sort of a vibe to me.
Wow, thank you so much. Honored.
You were moving through that. Thank you for sharing it with us all over the world. And the debut of Wendy a little bit earlier. And again, Zoee Official, and it's 2 E's, ZOEE Official.com. And she's very busy and got a lot of places where you can see her. But the next opportunity will be at the Country Music Hall of Fame this Saturday, 11 a.m. You're always welcome here. Please come back. All right.
I love you guys.